now.
Okay, ladies, welcome to class on this afternoon. I'm going to move back just a little bit so I'm not crowding y'all out so much. And I want to welcome you to this lesson on life coaching the dreamer. And so in life, we have to think about that we always encounter people, right? And a lot of times, like some of our first questions is, how are you doing? How was your day? Just like I did you guys, when you see that. And when you meet people, a lot of times some people give you the generic response. And some people do like you guys did today, and you just be real, and you say, oh, it wasn't a great day, or it was a good day, or guess what happened to me on the day. And so when you're given these opportunities, a life coach is always looking for that identification point where they can say, okay, how can I help the person? Because in life, we're expected to help one another. And so on tonight, we're going to learn how, when we meet a person that's a dreamer, how to identify that dreamer and how we can quickly help that dreamer start something. In 3 easy steps, we're going to learn how to do that. And so what I want you to go to today is to help me. We're going to go over the learning outcomes. And our learning outcomes for today are they're on the screen, to define the dreamer in this scope, to identify the traits of individuals needing assistance, to draw from behavioral therapy to create foundational tools, and then we are going to apply the steps to client scenarios. And so I'm going to ask you a question. How would you identify a dreamer? What do you think? How would you know that a person is a dreamer? And I know that you probably feel like everybody is a dreamer, but how would you identify that person that you're like, okay, this is a dreamer right here?
Always talking about the future.
Always talking about the future. I like that.
Dreams, ambition, focused on, like she said, the future, looking at something, foreseeing it.
So what would they say in conversation? If you asked them how they were doing and you all got into a conversation, what would be some of the things that you think they would say that help you identify the fact that they are a dreamer?
I'm working towards, right now I'm working towards getting my degree, or I'm trying to start my own business, or I can see myself doing that.
Yeah. You all agree? Anybody got anything else to add? Well, one of the key components for us doing this right here is the fact that you got to be able to listen, and listening is key, which is what you got to do in conversation. Because have you ever asked somebody how they're doing and then you didn't even listen to hear what they said? You just kept right on walking because we're so used to being like, well, how's your day? And they're talking and you are still walking. Because sometimes you actually get hurt.
I'm good.
No.
Well, thank you for asking.
And we all do it because, I'll tell somebody, hey, how you doing? They be like, how you doing? I'm like, thank you. And look, I ain't heard anything else they said. Why? Because we are robots. We do things by happenstance. But if you're going to actually look for people that are in this area, then you got to be active listening. And so some of the things that we're going to do, one of the key things is first you got to listen. And you all pointed out some things that a person might say in this conversation. But I'm going to talk to you probably about the person that is not as jolly, that is not actually coming out and saying, oh, I'm working on this, I want to go to college and this and that. Because most of the dreamers you'll meet are frustrated. Most of them are feeling like they're stuck and they're in a point. And so these are some things that they might say. I always wanted to. You ever met a person that say, I always wanted to do X, Y, Z?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And then how about as a child, I dreamt of, what did you dream of being as a child? Most of us gave up on our childhood dreams, right?
Yes.
I can't remember.
Praise God, we got one in the middle that says, no, I did not give up. So look, you did.
I did.
And why?
Because when I actually began the actual profession of that dream, I said it really isn't for me.
Okay, so you found out it wasn't for you. That's a good reason to change. But what about you? Did anybody else give up their childhood dream?
I did.
You forgot what yours was.
I was discouraged.
You were discouraged. Why were you discouraged?
Because I wanted to I wanted to become a lawyer, and I was told by someone that that's you're gonna be in school for too long and you don't think you need to find something else to do, and I was just like, dream killer.
Dream killer. So we're learning tonight how not to be dream killers, like not have to be like, that's crazy. Now I wanted to be a judge and I kind of fall in line with my sister, but my thing wasn't that they didn't think I could go to school. My thing was when I was like you, when I realized how long I had to go to school, I said, I'm gonna pick another profession. Now can I tell you the joke? I've probably been in school just that minute as long as they did. And Judge Tamil Dewberry right now. But I was like, no, thank you. I'm gonna do something else. And then these people might also say to you, I'm not fulfilled. You know, you ever met a person that's just, I'm not fulfilled? You know, they sitting there and they going every day and they just not fulfilled. They're looking for something. They're yearning for something. Another thing might be, I'm not happy at work.
Amen.
And I heard an amen. That means somebody is in that place. You know, I'm just not, Lord, can I get to the place that I want to get to? This might be that person. And then there's got to be something else. They don't know what.
It's something else.
But it's something else, right?
I said that.
So these are all signals, and there are so many things that can help you identify a dreamer. But this is a person that's basically, they're not really happy with where they are, but they don't really know how to get where they want. And someone don't even know where they're going. They just know, I want to get somewhere. There's more to it. And do you really believe that if you lived out your dream, do you believe that your life would be different?
I would like to think so.
Yeah.
Right.
I would like to think, I would definitely like to think it would
I
be.
might need to life coach some dreamers in the house.
Yeah.
I don't know. For me, I guess because I'm still pursuing my dream, I just feel like everything I've been through is part of the process to get me to that point. So I don't think it would have been different. I think that I had to go through what I went through to get to there and appreciate it. So I can't say that I think my life would have been different.
But do you think your life would be different if you actually live out your dreams? I can see where you're coming from because you're still in the process of pursuing the dream. You still haven't abandoned it. But for those that have abandoned it, it's like, do you think your life would be different if you actually went back and grabbed a hold of that thing that you dreamt of and actually lived it out?
Oh yeah.
So you on the path, so you can help the rest of the class out.
I know I would. I probably would.
Okay. We are in agreement
Your
that
dream.
your dream was maybe not your dream. It might have was a thought. But when you meet a person,
Man.
It's been a nightmare.
It would have been, you know what? It would have been different have I lived it out because I wouldn't have had children had I kept teaching like I was.
oh wow.
Oh.
Yeah, I was a teacher, and I had to give it up.
What grade?
It was only first grade.
See, these things we learn about people are just
First
like
grade is
this.
really coming down.
I know. I thought she was gonna say teenagers.
No,
She stopped at the
first
babies.
grade. First grade.
And you had to give it
I
up.
had to give it up.
Oh.
I know I wouldn't have had kids. I probably wouldn't even be here. I figure to me, because I'm so, like now, I'm very focused on what I want to do, and I'm always focused on being at the top. So I know kids would have been like, no.
No.
But
So-
my life would be where it is now.
Well, and you know what, the thing about it, we all believe that, and ultimately everything works together for our good, so the plans always work out, and no matter what course our life has taken. But to the person that you might meet that's stuck in this place, you can actually help them in just a few moments with just a few steps if you learn it by actually applying some behavioral techniques on tonight, which we're going to talk about. So let's just say you met a person and you're talking to them and they come across and you've heard through your listening that they're the one. We got somebody that's stuck. We got somebody that's frustrated. We got somebody that needs some help. I got somebody that's dreaming to do something. So how is it that we're actually going to help them? You've actually identified them. How is it that we're actually going to help them? So we're going to watch a clip, and I want you to watch this, and I want you to see the response that a person gives. And the reason why is because before we even get into how, I want you to identify and see that a response, what you say to a person in that moment when they actually say to you and when they actually are opening up their heart. People, that's vulnerability to actually let you in on the fact that I'm not quite satisfied in life. I'm not quite where I thought I was going to be. I'm not quite doing the thing that it is that I wanted to do. So your response, it actually matters. So let's look at this. And let's pray that our clip comes up properly. And this is a very familiar clip. And let me know if
Ah.
Okay, I'm not trying to fast forward. I'm trying to get y'all to the clip. Uh-oh. Let's go back.
Okay. Yeah. So, really, you'll excel at a lot of things. Just this. I don't want you out here shooting this all day and night. All right?
Alright.
Okay. All right, good.
Our internet is acting up.
Hey. Don't ever let somebody tell you you can't do something. Not even me. Alright? You got a dream, you got to protect it. People can't do something themselves, they're gonna tell you you can't do it. You want something, go get it. Period.
Now tell me in that clip what that said to you about why your response matters so much. What did you see?
You can discourage them, make them give up.
You can discourage them, make them give up. Because in that clip, he was two people, and one time Will Smith was a person that discouraged, and he was a person that encouraged. And so, in saying that, what is it that you take from that you would not do if somebody came to you?
Discourage them. Try to give them hope and a reason to pursue or even consider what they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like she said, you can discourage or be like a dream killer. You don't want to do that because sometimes your response can make a whole lot of difference to someone.
Right.
I would think that for the most part, you don't necessarily need to put your failed dreams onto someone else's dream.
That's good.
Because having the piggyback thing doesn't work for that. You actually take yourself out of it and let them be risen up into their dreams and encouragement and support. And that goes a lot further than, okay, mine was deferred, mine was crushed. You don't want to do that because that actually sets them up for a failed mindset about their dreams.
About their dreams. I like that. Don't project your experiences on there or what you feel that or whatever. And even in saying that, a lot of times, especially when you look at parents, a lot of times they project what happened to them in life onto their children. And so it's like, well, I tried to do that. How many movies have we seen where the person wanted to be a superstar and their parents said, well, I went that road and it took me down this, but you have to remember that everybody has their own lane and their own path, and so your response should be something that encourages them. And so in saying that, we're going to learn how our approach should be. We're going to use behavioral therapy techniques actually to learn how to respond to a person. And so I know you're probably like, well, I'm not quite a therapist, I'm not quite a life coach or whatever, but in your everyday life you can actually take this, and when you're talking to somebody, you might be that turning point, that moment in somebody's life if you actually apply these techniques. And so the first thing that we're going to talk about is what the significance of behavioral therapy is and the benefits of it. And so behavioral therapy, when you think about it, is really about changing mindset. It's really about changing how a person sees a thing. And so some of the benefits is, the first thing you wanted them to do is self-evaluation. Because if you start pointing the finger, saying you da-da-da-da-da, that's accusation. But if you get them to reflect and to look at themselves, and they actually can pick out and point out where their mindset is in the wrong place, then you can actually help them to turn that, because now it's almost like they're taking the action, they're taking the responsibility. And so self-evaluation helps their mindset. The next thing is mindset affects their action. If you can get a person's mindset to change, then you can get their actions to change. But first, the mindset has to actually change. And then action, once they begin to take that different mindset and put it into action, it actually leads to change. Because if you do something different, you're going to get a different result. And then when change come in, it leads to better thoughts and feelings about themselves. So now a person who may have felt like I missed the opportunity as a child, or I don't have the money, or someone told me all these negative things, now they got a mindset that says, I can do this. You know, it's like where the Bible says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Now you got a mindset that in spite of the opposition, I can do this. So all I got to do is keep working towards it. So in this little moment, when we learn these few 3 steps, we can get them to begin this process. And you're like, how am I going to do this with just 3 steps? But you can. And then check that positive thoughts and feelings lead to progress. And so we know if we're progressing, eventually we're going to get to our goal. And so that's what we want to get the person to see, that there are endless possibilities. We don't want them to have that locked-in mindset that this is it, all I see right here, this is it. We want them to learn that through some behavioral changes that they can change their life. So on the next thing is 3 steps. 3 steps, just 3 steps. First thing that I said that you needed to do was listen. This means don't do what I do when I say, how are you doing in the morning? You actually listen to the person's response. A person is telling you exactly where they're at and where they're feeling. And when you hear that person, it's called a transition and a turning point. They're at a pivotal point in their lives. You can be the thing that either turn them backwards or either help them propel forward. So first you need to hear. And that means you got to be a little bit unselfish so that you actually take time and listen to people. Can't be in such a rush that we don't listen to people. The next thing I want you to think about is help. The whole time they're talking, listen with the intent where I can help. Where can I jump in here and say something positive? Where can I jump in here? And remember, we're not accusing. We're just saying, hey, have you ever thought about it this way? And why did you give up on that dream? You still can do that. You're awesome. You meet an older person. It's not too late. Because older people think, I don't live. This is too late. I can't start another career. Yes, you can. And then the last thing you're going to leave them with is hope. Because when you get them to get to the point where they're actually self-evaluating, you're giving them hope that there is something better. So if I'm telling you about my life, if I'm telling you about my scenario, and you listen to me, and then you start talking to me about changing my mindset, evaluating myself, how to take baby steps and those things, then you're helping me, and ultimately you're giving me the hope that I need. So what we're going to do at this time is we're going to break off, and you all are already sitting in your teams, and we're going to do some role playing. So what I want you to do is I want you to take these tools that you just learned. I want you to take these tools.
Yeah, she did.
I want you to take these tools that you just learned in your groups, and I'm going to give each of you a scenario. One of you are going to have scenario 1, the other's going to have scenario 2. And I want you to actually read what your scenario says, and you're going to act it out. And the other person is going to be the responder. They're going to be the life coach. They're going to be the counselor in this situation. And then you guys are going to switch off after a few minutes. And then we'll talk about how you felt, what you learned in that process. And I'm going to come around and see if you're actually applying what you just learned. All right? Y'all excited about role playing?
Yes.
Every day. Yes. All right. All right. So read so scenario 1, you all go first. Read who you are and act it out. Don't read it off the paper. Act it out.
Okay. Whew. I gotta get my Shakespeare on.
Get your Shakespeare on.
Now we're gonna basically read this out.
No, you're not gonna read out. You will act it out because it's like you're meeting her, you're talking to her, and you basically having this conversation. And she's now opened the door where you can just basically tell her where you are and what's going on. Now you don't have to say it word for word, but get it in your head how you gonna say it to the person. Do y'all relate? Then it is.
Yeah.
You may need to switch.
Okay, we're ready.
Go. Scenario 1.
Okay, I'm listening. Y'all you don't have to listen to each other. Go ahead, I'm listening. Okay.
Girl.
Hey baby, how you doing?
Girl, I am
Good
doing.
job.
How are
20
you? I'm doing
years.
good.
Almost
Treating you.
retirement.
Whew, girl,
Ain't coming no time soon. Bills
life
keep
has
stacking
been
up.
something, honey. That jobs.
Thought about changing jobs, but then again,
it is what it is. It is what it is. But
life ain't really
we
going the
don't-
path I wanted to. Try to
we
look for
wish
extra
things could
employment.
be differently, but
Trying
this
to
is
hold
what
on to
we've
this.
gotten. So you
Push
know,
the kids through
deal
school.
with it as best
Finally
we
they
can.
gone, but then
What is it that
again
you
I'm
wish would be
stuck
different?
because house needs to be
Girl,
repaired.
let me you know,
We
finally
got
you know,
medical
you
bills piling up.
get married and
And
have
this
kids
time,
and
right now,
you
I'm
look
late in the
forward
game,
to the
jumping
day
ship
they
to learn
go
something new.
off
I'm
to
too
school
old for
and
that.
on their own.
I'm too
Well, it
old for
came.
that.
And I'm left
I
with,
just don't know what to do.
okay, what am I doing?
What is it
What
that
have
you
I
would like
done
to
with
do?
the past 20 years of my life? You know, I'm stuck at the
I
same
really don't
place.
know.
I haven't moved.
I haven't found anything that really gives
And
me
now
joy.
I find
I
that
invested so much time in my
life
kids
is like
and my family.
humdrum.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm
I'm
like,
at the point where
really just
What is it
wanting
that I
something
wanna
more,
do?
something different.
Well, it
You
sounds
know,
like
it's like I'm
this
stuck
is the
in a
perfect time for you to
dry
start
place.
evaluating it. Why
Well,
don't
think
you
about it
take
this
time
way.
to try to
The kids
figure
are
out
gone.
Yeah.
what you like?
It's time for you to have
Try
a fresh
different
start.
things.
So you don't have
You
the,
can stay
the
where you are
responsibility
now
of them.
because
Yes,
where
they
you
always
are,
gonna
where
come
you
back
work,
home.
it
Yes,
pays
you always
bills,
gonna
it
be their
takes care of
mama.
your necessities
But you don't
right
have
now.
that burden. You don't have to
Take
worry about
time
getting
to try to
kids up in
figure
the
out
morning and
maybe
getting them off
like
to
art
school.
or
So now's the
music
time for you.
or
So now you've
another
raised your
form of
kids.
career.
Think
Try
about what's
different
gonna make you
things.
happy. Why don't you make a list of things that's gonna make you happy?
Try some things, see if
And
they're fun.
research and find out exactly
that.
what it would take to
Some
achieve
things
it.
do, but
And
some
then maybe
things
that
don't.
will spark
Sometimes
some
it's
kind of
just being
interest in
around
you
other people
to
who
say,
are in that
okay,
same
this is
atmosphere.
something I don't want to do
Find
anymore.
something
Maybe
about
this was
something
just a
that you
dream
like.
that I
See
had
what you
that
really are into.
I don't really want to pursue.
Maybe
But
there
this,
are
I'm
events
still
that are
interested in.
happening
This
that you
gives
can
me a new
attend.
spark.
Maybe there are
Because maybe
other
that's what you need.
memberships
But
and groups
now's
and
the
things
time for
that
the
you
second
can
part of your
join.
life.
There are all
It
kinds of
is,
clubs
it
that you can
is.
join that are free.
Thank you,
And
because I
jobs
just,
come and go, honey.
And then if this
Yes,
is
Peace
something
of
that you
mind
want to
stays
pursue,
forever.
then we look at it from a financial perspective.
honey,
But
that's
gotta
that's
try.
what I need.
And
You
think
don't
about
know
it
until
this
you
way.
first
You
start.
just said you've been at the same
So-
job for 20 years, not
Yeah.
the same career for 20 years.
Yeah.
A job is a job, but a career is
There
something that
may
you
be a
enjoy. A
festival
career is something
coming
that
up.
you
Not quite sure.
pursue and that you find
But
some
I
kind of
guess I
gratification
can
in.
carve
So
out time.
maybe it's time for you to
I
find your
mean,
career
can
and your
join.
passion.
Sure.
As
I'll
opposed
go
to you
just
just
let me
going
know
to
the
clock
day and the
in
time.
a
so
job
I
for
can
the
make time on my
past 20 years
schedule.
and for
We
the
can
next
go
20 years.
hang out, see what it's all about.
And that's
And
I
see
think
if you
that's
like it.
exactly
Even if
what
not, it'd be
will
still just
help
a day of
me
hanging out with
get
friends.
out of this
We
rut.
can sit back and
Let's
talk
get
about
out of this
it.
rut because I'm
Right,
Can't
so
be
wait,
can't
wait.
win. Can't
They don't
lose.
need it to
Yeah.
last.
If I don't show up tomorrow,
Enjoy
honey, they
it.
gonna
Enjoy
find
it.
out.
Food,
Oh
that's
my
what I
goodness, they
do.
gonna go on without me, and
Eating in
I'm
and cooking
still
both.
left.
Both.
You know, feeling
See?
like
Okay, see,
I'm
there you
just
go.
empty.
Hey, this is a $1 million
So, yeah.
investment.
You
Can't
really
go
got
wrong
it
with
right.
it.
Everybody got to eat.
I think
We
right
can
about
roll with
now
that.
it's
We
So
can
we
roll
can
with
see
it.
how it
never
works.
too late to go
Cool.
back to school.
Cool.
All
I
right.
guess
Good for you.
I've been listening. It sounds excellent. Now, tell me, we're gonna go to the scenario 2 in a minute. But tell me, I heard two different perspectives, excellent perspectives. I heard you ending with, and you asked her would she go, and she said, yeah, I will go. I heard your portion about, a job is a job, but a career is a career. Tell me, I want to know from the person who was actually the person that needed the assistance, how did their responses make you feel?
Validated.
Validated, cherished, and cared. Now, I'm going to get the responses of you all after a minute, but I just want to know how the words that came to mind, validated, cherished, and cared. And you can see how those two little aspects would change a person. So now let's flip, and let's now, scenario 2, you read your response, and when you're ready, let them know so that we can go.
I'm ready.
Oh, okay.
Oh. She owned it.
Hey, hon, how are you?
I am doing one. It's me first.
Huh?
Me
Okay, go ahead.
first. Thank you.
You want us to switch places?
Switch places, yeah. So you just have.
So I'm.
Yeah, what's
the one
going on in your
who's
Give me
gonna
world?
invite you down.
Mhm.
Okay.
A lot, girl. Every time I turn around, something is going on, and so much I want to do right now, but I don't know. I just can't seem to get motivated. And every time I go to certain people and try to talk those who I think would help me, they seem to
Well,
be
Hey,
putting me down. They
Stacey,
don't
how
give
are
me
you,
the motivation
sweetie?
that I
Hey,
need
I'm
in
okay.
order
Tired
to
as usual.
pursue
Tired
certain
as
things
usual.
that I want
Tired
to
as
do.
usual. How are you?
I want to
Girl,
travel.
I am
wanna
doing
see life, I wanna
fine.
live
What
life.
has been
But
going
I can't get the
on?
momentum.
Girl, I
I'm
feel
trying
like I've
to
been
do
in
it on my
school
own.
forever. Okay,
I can't. And the people I go to, they're
I've been
not
in school
helping me.
forever,
Try to
and
just
I'm
encourage
coming
me.
up
And
on
I don't know.
my
I
last
don't know what to do at
semester,
this
and
point.
I'm getting ready to
feeling
start
a
grad
little
school
bit
in January. So it's a never ending
discouraged. It's
process.
like maybe
but,
it's just a waste
you know,
of my
I
time.
feel
Maybe I
like
should just
this has been the
stop
longest 2
being
years of my
so
life.
radical about my
Oh.
goals and my changes and just stay
Things
where
take
I'm at.
time. You
live
know
life.
that. Things take time. But have you
Okay,
learned
so-
something?
Are the people that
You know,
you're
I
they're
have, but you know, the
closed-minded,
people
or
that
they
you have
don't
around
travel,
you
or
plays a big
is it
part
that
in
they
it. You
don't-
know, it's
so many
They
people
get
telling me that,
scared,
I
or
have a good job and I've
is
been
it
there for
financial?
14 years and
Good
you know,
question.
why are you
I
going to
think
school
some of it could be
to
a
give
little-
up
some
on
of them
what
may
you've
be
been
a
doing
little
for the
bit
past 14
close-minded,
years
or they're
and
just
you
not
know,
seeing
you may
my
take a pay
vision,
cut
you
and
know,
you live
and
a
I just want
comfortable
them to
life
kind of see it from
now.
my
Why do you
perspective,
want to
not
venture out and
theirs.
go to the what
So
if
I think
when you know
that's
what
the
you have
problem
in
that
front
I'm
of you?
having.
And
It's like
you
I think
know,
they're looking at it if it was them doing
It-
it. And we're two
I
different
know me.
people.
Yeah.
and I know I'm
And I
not.
just want them to
I know I
kind of
have a
think
deep
about me,
passion
how my
and something
personality
else
is.
that
So
I want to
if it's
do. And
something that
I know it
could-
sounds crazy to other
if you
people,
see
but I
me
don't
doing
care.
it, not necessarily you
But
doing
you
it,
know, it's starting to weigh on me
and
now.
I
Now that I
just
get
want-
closer to the
I
end
feel
of
like I
school,
got
it's
somebody
like,
on my team,
well, maybe
so
I'll
I
just
need
stick
somebody
around my
to
job
encourage me.
for another
I
6
can get that
years
encouragement to keep pushing
till I
forward.
retire,
Put my own
even though
self
I got this good degree that I really wanted and pursued all this time.
Well,
So,
what
you
you
know,
can
it's
do.
it's
Well, I've
tough.
tried
It's
If
several
you
times.
are not going
Try
to
take a
be
small trip by
happy
yourself.
with staying where you are,
If it's
it
just
is
going
worth
an hour
every bit
on
of
the
peace
road
of mind
to a
to
different city.
keep pursuing
And
what
see,
it is
build
that
up
you
your
want
self
to do.
confidence.
What's
This-
going to make you
But this pays the bills
Don't worry about
comfortably.
nobody else.
And the new thing may be a
Don't worry
what
about
if.
nobody else. Stick with you, okay?
What if
And sooner you meet
that job closed
people
down?
who love to travel. There are traveling groups out there.
You don't
where
have
you
the
can
money now,
join.
do you?
Now, be
You don't
careful.
have the money, but yet
Maybe a little
when you
quiet.
keep
So you gotta scope them out a little bit. Scope out. You gotta scope out a little bit. Scope out a little bit.
it
But
will pay
don't be
off
afraid to
because
be
you know
by
why?
yourself.
The difference is you the
Sometimes
passion
that's the best
and the
business.
love that you have
Peace of
that
mind
is going
you
into
can have.
that. That's gonna outweigh.
'Cause
You'll be able
as
to
you
ride
know,
that roller
people
coaster,
bring drama.
ups and downs,
People bring
and
drama.
come
So
out a little
be
bit
the
better
best
than you are just
Keep your guard up sometimes with folks.
being at some place that's
And
just a
don't be-
paycheck.
Don't be a human
Just a
garbage
paycheck.
can.
You cannot
Don't let
divert
nobody else put
and go past
how they
where you
feel or
want to
what they
go
been through.
just because of where you
Yeah.
are. And
Because
nobody
then you'll
else
start
should be
taking
able
on
to
their
tell you
attributes and how
this
they're
is
feeling.
why you have
Don't be a
to
human
stay where you
garbage
are
can.
doing what you
Listen to
do
the air, let it go on one
because
end,
you have
and
the
out the other. Stay
power
focused on what you
to
want
do more than
And
where
are
you
you in
are.
a local church or
More
in a
than what you're
local
doing right now.
organization?
You have it in
or
you.
sorority?
You're gonna
Not right
give that
now,
and
no.
then some
You know, I'm actually
to
new
what
to the
you really
area,
wanna
so
do.
I haven't really,
Dreams deferred
think
is
on
never
or
a
found a
bad
church
thing.
that I'm like ready to
Dreams deferred is not
attend,
dreams
or
denied,
even
right?
like
That's right.
organizations.
So you
I'm
keep
kind
it
of like
going.
the
All
I'm
right,
very
keep
picky
it going.
with
Don't
people
give
that
up
I'm
on it
around.
just
So when I
because
do
of
find
what
that person,
the
or those
naysayers
people, I'm like,
come at you looking
those who
like,
I'll
oh, it
communicate
looks
with.
like this.
So
That's their situation.
I found
Yours.
Okay, you guys are doing excellent, excellent, excellent. And look, you do that, and then we finish it. But one thing that I love that you guys did is I like that I heard the real life scenarios brought in. I heard real responses. I heard that you guys being authentic. So as the person that responded, how did you feel? You know, we heard what it was like to be the person that was responding to, but as the life coach, as the counselor, how did you feel in that moment, listening and intentionally responding and having that obligation to encourage the person? How did you feel about that?
It forces me to actually respond.
Good. It forces you to actually respond. And that is good, because that's what I want you to feel like, that you actually have to do something. That what you need, your takeaway is that I actually need to do something. I not just walk away and be like, oh, I'm sorry, you know what they do. You know, it's like they said, when you see a person in need, you address the need. You don't just walk away and say, I'm going to pray for you. And even in this situation, when you meet someone like this, you have an obligation to encourage them. And you can do that. And you saw how easy it was, right? How easy was it?
It was pretty easy.
Once you listen, it's easy.
Once you listen, it's easy. And so that was the key. We listen, we hear, and we give them help, and then we let them leave us with hope. So is there any questions about this scenario we went through? Is there anything that I need to clear up or clarify? Or did you feel like tomorrow you could walk out and someone could come across your path and you would say, okay, this is my opportunity to apply what I just learned?
I feel you gave good tools.
Well, awesome. Thank you again for being a part of this class. I hope that you enjoyed it, and come back again.
Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you.